broccoli, cabbage, carrots, cucumbers, lots of vitamins, fruits, no sugar in my life. That's what I've been surrounding myself with for the last year. Proper nutrition is boring. That's what they tell me. But you know what? I'll tell you now why I started eating like this and about the advantages that I realized from all this. Hi everyone, my name's Rick, and if you haven't met me just 2 years ago, you would have not recognized me, because I was a fan of fatty junk food, sugary soda, and much more. To begin with, my family has never really adhered to the rules about food. My mother often cooked meat, she loved to fry it in butter, and we ate a lot of flour. Dad has a sweet tooth, so there were always sweets, pastries, and puddings in our house. All this brought pleasure. We bought food for 6 people every week, even though there were only 3 of us with our parents. Unbeknownst to us, we were getting fatter and fatter every year. Of course, my mother was worried about the weight, but there was nothing she could do about the whims. Besides, my father also liked fatter and more satisfying dishes. Whenever we had visitors, they would ask us why we ate few vegetables and almost no fruit, and we would just shrug our shoulders and eat on. At some point, I stopped getting into t-shirts and wondered how sad it was. And then I met a girl who was older than me. She was already in college. Our acquaintance happened by chance. We met on the parking. On the way, we somehow got into a conversation and went to the market together for groceries. We had 2 identical cart baskets, only mine was filled to the brim with snacks, sweets, meats, and bread, and she had a few vegetables, dairy products, and fruit. She looked at my basket and looked at hers, and we laughed. I said, "Can you eat enough of this?" She said. "Yes, and it's also insanely delicious if you cook it right." I didn't believe her then. How can healthy food be delicious? We exchanged numbers and went our separate ways. In the evening, I came home, and when we sat down at the table, I asked my parents, "What if we changed the diet?" My dad gave me a sour look, and he said he wasn't going to spend the rest of his life on a diet that left me hungry, stressed out, and generally did more harm than good. My father firmly believed that food should be a pleasure, otherwise we deprived ourselves of the last joy. Mom didn't say anything, and I ate quite a bit and went to my room. In the evening, I wrote to that girl. Her name was Amelia. I asked her how she came to eat this way, to which she replied that her mother had taught her. They eat like this almost all their lives. Then she sent me a photo of her mother, and I was surprised. They looked almost the same age. My mother's 50 years old, she said. She looks 30, and all this thanks to nutrition. No plastic surgery. Amelia wrote. Then she said that in medical school, they were first taught that we are what we eat. This meant that food builds our body, and the more useful it is, the healthier and more beautiful our body is. The last words stuck in my head. I went to the mirror and looked at myself. No abs, big sides, sagging breasts. Only 17 years old, and I already look like my father. Amelia threw me a few programs and applications, thanks to which you can easily count calories and make a menu. All I had to do was buy the right products. A week later, I returned to the market and bought a bunch of vegetables and other useful things for the first time. You should have seen the parents' face when they looked at the packages. My father started swearing. He said that I had wasted my money. He told me to return the food to its place, and then I could not restrain myself. I said I wanted to learn a healthier lifestyle with them. To be honest, I didn't expect Dad to be so outraged. We had a fight over the food, and he got very sick. Mom called an ambulance, and Dad was taken away. When he arrived after the car, we were told that my father had high cholesterol, which is dangerous for the heart and blood vessels. Diet and exercise are necessary, the doctor said. Dad managed to rebel even there. He behaved like a child, and at that moment I firmly decided that it was time to change something in my life. While he was in the hospital, I made an audit in the kitchen, threw out all the harmful products, bought more healthy food, and in the evening, my mother and I made steamed cutlets together, boiled broccoli, and placed the bread with oatmeal loaves. To our surprise, the food was very tasty. The first few days were unusual, even felt hungry, but then the body began to cleanse and I began to sleep better. Gradually, lost shortness of breath and the pulse returned to normal. However, the hardest part was yet to come. When my father was discharged, he came home and asked for steaks. We steamed the meat again, and when Dad sat down at the table, his mood fell. He refused to eat at all and went to the room. In the middle of the night, we heard a noise in the kitchen. He was looking for his chocolates. When he saw me, he started shouting that he was hungry, that I was trying to starve him, that I wasn't feeding him, and so on. My mother and I had to calm him down for a long time. We spent most of the night talking, explaining that it was time for all of us to eat right. My father was very angry. As a result, he did not eat for almost 2 days. He did not have the strength left. I brought food on a tray, and he pushed it aside. Then I sat down next to him and asked him to try for me. I once again told him that we kill ourselves every day, and if he doesn't stop, it will only get worse. Only after a week of persuasion, he still agreed. We cooked every day, and every time it was different. At first, he spat, and then he got a taste. A week later, He even asked for vegetables and fruit for dessert. We realized that we were more dependent on food, not physiologically, but psychologically. And if we release ourselves, it becomes easier. So we lived for about 6 months, and then I managed to drag my parents to the gym for sports. We began to study together. During the year, we lost a good weight, and my mother's skin became younger. She began to walk more often with my father. He already woke up in the morning to exercise. It was beautiful. If you compare the photo from a year ago and the current one, the difference will be great. And just today, my dad thanked me for making him healthier, just like the rest of us. So I strongly advise everyone to think about what we eat and stop killing themselves with junk food every day.
Please don't forget to share this podcast on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Thanks for your support. Check out our YouTube channel by clicking the link in this episode description. And also, kindly please rate and review this podcast. Bye.